Károly Takács was born on January 21, 1910 in Budapest, Hungary. He was enlisted as a sergeant in the Hungarian Army and, by 1936, was already a world-class pistol shooter. He had trained and nursed the desire to represent his country, Hungary, in the 1936 Summer Olympics held in Berlin, Germany. Unfortunately, his request was denied by his superiors and countrymen because he wasn't a commissioned officer to be allowed to participate. But the tide will soon turn for the good. In 1938, when the prohibition against willing sergeants was lifted, naturally, Károly was excited and hoped to compete and win gold in the 1940 Olympics, which took place in Tokyo. But the same year, the ban was lifted. The then 28-year-old Károly's expectation to participate in the 1940 World Pistol Shooting was messed up with. While he was in a training session in the cantonment, a faulty grenade exploded, which totally damaged his right hand. By implication, his right hand, which he had trained to shoot with, was no more valuable to him. Obviously, his dream was shattered. While he was in the hospital receiving treatment for his injury, he contemplated on two decisions: to give up shooting, which was the easiest to do without any mockery from people since they already knew of his accident; to not give up shooting by using his left hand, which was a difficult choice to make and which people would mock him for since it was a weird thing to do. Before he was discharged from the hospital after spending a month, Károly had chosen one out of the two. Alone, he began training with his left hand, practicing days on ending. With the great ferociousness of a wounded lion, he overcame the lousiness of his left hand and thoroughly mastered shooting a pistol with it. Unknown to his contemporaries, a year later, in 1939, Károly reappeared in the limelight, this time at Hungary's National Shooting Championship. On seeing him, his colleagues who participated in the sports were excited for his comradeship spirit, coming out against all odds just to cheer them for them. They were not ready for the shock they received when Károly stated emphatically that he was there as a competitor. Even so, it was a double shock to them when he won the competition. From all indications, he was the man to represent his country in the Olympics in the following year. Unfortunately, the Second World War began and the game was postponed. By 1944, the war was still raging and the Olympics didn't hold that year. But Károly wasn't disillusioned. He kept his hope and waited patiently for when all the disruptions will be over for his dream to become a reality. He kept on, and 8 years later, it happened. The Summer Olympics in London was organized and Károly took part as Hungary's representative. This time, the surprise wasn't only for his countrymen but for the whole world, who watched Károly win the gold by setting an Olympic record of 580 points, thus flooring Carlos Enrique Diaz Sáenz Valiente, the reigning champion at the time from Argentina. He repeated the same feat with 579 points at the 1952 Olympics in Helsinki, winning gold. Today, Károly Takács is found among the Olympic heroes of the International Olympic Committee. It is easy to believe someone who is working with facts and figures, but it's a wild game chasing the man or woman who relies on their belief that anything is possible once you set your mind on it. Andre Gide said, "There are many things that seem impossible, only so long as one does not attempt them. To the ordinary eye, anything unattempted or attempted but was unsuccessful can be done. But to the eyes that see that it's a matter of consistency and dedication, anything unattempted is a goldmine." Debsish Berda quoted, "In life, nothing is impossible to achieve when you have enthusiasm, optimism, confidence, and commitment." Yes, in the process of dedication, perseverance, and consistency, impossibility is simply overrated. Edmund Mbiaka sums it up thus: "Impossible is only an issue of the mind. There's simply no limit to what your mind can conceive if you believe it's possible. Stretch beyond the limits."